It's a beautiful day today, and today we're back reading some more Am I the A-Hole? It's 8:30 in the morning right now when I'm reading this, so this is how I'm starting the day today. Excited, but also a little bit nervous. And with that being said, enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for eating at the children I babysit for's house? I, 20 female, babysit for some extra cash on the side. This just happened and it's eating me up, so here we go. So, the family ordered pizza for dinner. Mum left cash on the table for me to pay. It was me and two boys, 7 and 10. A large cheese pizza and breadsticks. I've always been under the impression that the babysitter is allowed to have a reasonable amount of dinner if they're expected to serve dinner. I've babysat a few times in the past and I've never encountered this. When the parents came home to relieve me, they asked how tonight went. I said fine, and I said the pizza place was really good, as I'd never ordered from there before. Mum looked at me puzzled and asked me why I ate the kids' dinner. I said I just had 2 pieces of pizza and a breadstick. I feel as if that's not an inappropriate amount to eat. However, the parents disagreed. Dad said that they didn't expect to have to feed me dinner as well, and told me not to eat their family's food. Overall, I'm very uncomfortable and confused by this. Both boys were fed and did not complain about being hungry for the rest of the night. I personally have always assumed, perhaps wrongly, that if I'm expected to serve dinner as a sitter, then I'm welcome to have a serving. Is this something anyone else has experienced? Am I the a-hole? Nah, definitely not. And it even says in the comments that they still had leftovers. Yeah, like this comment says, wow, not the a-hole. That family is rude and cheap AF. I order extra to accommodate for babysitters. I ask them their preferences for pizza toppings, etc. That's if we order pizza or any kind of food. I also let them know where the snacks are and to help themselves to water and soda or Gatorade, etc. I nannied and babysit for many families over the years as a teenager and young adult too, and it was always like this as well. What an a-hole family. Don't babysit for them again. Yeah, 100%. They're overreacting so bad, and not just overreacting, but they're being so rude. Yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't babysit for them again, but I'd also make sure they know that they're being super rude. Like, go up to them and be like, you know what? This is why you're super wrong, okay? Read this post, guys. Or if you want some petty revenge, you can babysit for them again, and then just eat all of their food in the house. No, all jokes aside, you're definitely not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have a fully child-free wedding? So I recently proposed to my long-term girlfriend, and we're planning for a wedding in the summer of next year. Everything is still very early stages. My fiance expressed that she wants a child-free wedding, which I'm all down for, but I want to make one exception. My son, 15 male. I had him from a previous relationship, and we've evenly split custody of him. Until now, my fiance has gotten along great with him. We've had days out as a family. She's going to see his games. He plays ice hockey, and she's even taking him out on fun days, just the two of them. I brought up that I wanted to make an exception to the no kids rule for my son. She shot the idea down straight away and said that she didn't want anyone under 16 there, as she doesn't want to feel like she or anyone else has to babysit on her special day. I told her that no one would have to babysit him. He's 15 and she knows he's well behaved and generally a quiet kid. She then changed her reasoning and asked why I wanted my old family. Oh my god, red flag. Huge red flag. Are you joking? Asked why I wanted my old family and life on the day I was supposed to be making a commitment to her and our new family. You're calling their son their old family? I told her while I will be making a commitment to her, my son will still very much be my son and my family. She then equated it to wanting my ex at our wedding, which I do not and never asked. Yeah, that's way out of left field. That doesn't even make any sense. I told her that I don't care about the aesthetics of the wedding and that she can pick everything else, the food, the aesthetic, the music, the dress, but all I want is my family at the wedding, my parents, my sisters, and my son. That's my only ultimatum when it comes to our wedding. She started calling me controlling by giving me an ultimatum and said I had initially agreed to a child-free wedding, and now I'm gaslighting her. I said that we can have a mainly child-free wedding, but with this one exception, an expectation that guests can't even complain about being unfair since the only child is the son of the groom. She called me a ding-dong and is now not talking to me. I think this is a reasonable want, but maybe I'm not seeing something. So am I the a-hole? Okay, so I want to just say that there are about 9,000 comments here that are saying not to marry this person, which I can't even imagine how it'd feel for this person writing this post. But yeah, holy, the fact that they called your son a part of your old life and equated your son to an ex that you should forget about or something is disgusting. And the fact that they think you're in the wrong is also disgusting. Also, this post is marked as a-hole, but every comment I've seen has said not the a-hole. The top comment says, wow, she doesn't want your own child to come to your own wedding, and not a crying baby or a terrible people too, but a 15-year-old, a kid that'll be old enough to drive next year when the wedding is. If this goes on as she wants, you think your kid won't remember? Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. This is all kinds of evil stepmother red flags. The whole thing about you making a new commitment to her and her family and equating having your son there to having your ex-wife there. Dude, get out now while you just have to eat the non-refundable deposits for the wedding. Save yourself and your kid a world of hurt. You would be the a-hole if you married this woman. Edit to add, you've never had a fight like this before because up to this point, she's been putting on a show, but now she's comfortable enough in the relationship to show you who she really is. Yeah, oh my god, I haven't seen a post like this in a long time. Every single comment here is like, oh my god, there are so many red flags here, run away. And yeah, there are so many red flags here. The bit where they tried to equate their son to an ex, I can't get over that. That's revolting. And calling their son the old family. So obviously they expect that they're not going to be in their life anymore when they get married or something. Like they obviously expect their relationship with their son to change. And yeah, I agree with that comment. You would be the a-hole if you did marry them. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out that she was bullying a kid for being poor? Hi Reddit, about 2 months ago, my wife, female 38, and I, male 41, learned that my stepdaughter, female 16, was bullying a girl in school over being poor, getting free lunch at school, and not being able to afford necessities such as her own nice car and stuff. Our daughter was kinda spoiled. We provided her with everything she needed, along with an allowance and a part-time job at my company, a small family service business. We've been considered middle class, doing things others weren't as privileged to do, such as buying our daughter a car on her 16th birthday. I come from a family of immigrants and I was considered in poverty growing up. After learning about the bullying, I was furious as we thought that we didn't raise her to behave that way. She was in honours and top ranking of her class. I tried to talk to our daughter over why she would do that, and I was disturbed to learn that it was because she viewed that girl as trailer trash, which irritated me. The girl, from what I learned, is very smart and works hard. She bought her own beta car by herself and works 2 jobs. She considered the money our family had as our family's money, so I put her in her place and I told her that it was not her money but her mum and I's money. I decided from that point I was spoiling my daughter too much. We ended up taking away her latest iPhone and replacing it with my old iPhone 8 by switching phones with me, with a talk and a text plan. We took away her family credit card, sold her car along with her MacBook and other luxuries. I also told her she would have to find a job without nepotism and work a minimum wage job like everyone else her age, because I'm done giving her handouts if she's gonna act entitled. Fast forward 2 months later and she's working at a fast food restaurant with us driving her around. She doesn't talk to me unless she needs something like a ride, but is very upset with me. My wife feels like I'm taking this too far because it's affecting her social status and grades in school. However, I feel like she needs to be humbled because I can't have a daughter who will disrespect people just because of the amount of money they have. I also feel that her behaving this way will affect her younger sister, female 12, and how she perceives the world. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out that she was bullying a kid for being poor? Edit, I'd also like to add that we took away her MacBook, but she still has access to the family computer in the house, Windows computer for school that is powerful and recently new. She still has Wi-Fi access at the house, however we did throttle her speed because high-speed internet is a privilege. She has fast enough internet to do homework and watch videos that aren't in HD, like Netflix and stuff. She also isn't failing. She went from a straight A student to mostly B's and 2 A's, which I still find great. Edit number 2, this blew up. I'd like to clarify some things. Yes, we are upper middle class, not multi-millionaires or anything, but enough to live comfortably. She's practically my daughter as I've raised her since she was practically 4, and her real father walked out on the family when she was 2. My wife helps run the business and we both agree on punishments. We came to an agreement that I would make decisions with her on things. We did talk with the family and we had her apologize to the girl at school. She was required to do 5 hours of community service at the school, volunteering for food drives and after school activities due to the school's no bully policy. She wanted the job to get money so she could hang out with her friends and buy things that she wanted. We just cut her off from her $15 an hour receptionist job for a non-nepotism job. We also warned her that if her grades become too unsustainable, she'd be forced to quit her job and focus on school because she doesn't need extracurricular activities outside of school. She needs to focus on her education. No, I don't feel like you're the a-hole. I feel like this is the right thing to do. The top comment says, definitely not the a-hole, and I'm proud of you for standing up to your stepdaughter and giving her a taste of what life is really like. You may just save her from that path to hell that she was on. She acts so privileged and entitled from what you described. It's good for her to see how the other half lives. I'm sure it's very eye-opening for her. I'd continue this path for at least a year so she doesn't slide back. Hopefully you'll have a much more respectful and kind stepdaughter. It really is too bad other parents don't do more stuff like this to their children instead of spoiling them rotten and then wondering why they're in jail or something. Good for you. Yeah, it's the same sort of stuff that we read on here all the time. All this is the consequences of their actions, and yeah, it's a life lesson for them. Am I the a-hole for not telling my wife that my sister died? Maya, 35 male sister died 3 weeks ago. My wife had only met her once and she lived quite far away, and every time I went to see her, my wife didn't come. My dad told me that she died and told me when her funeral was. I travelled down for the funeral and I told my wife I was going to go see my sister. A few days after I got back home, my brother called my wife and told her to check up on me. Since I hadn't been answering his calls and text messages, I guess she asked why he was so worried, and my brother told her about my sister dying. My wife got really upset at me for not telling her, and she said that I can't trust her and that I should talk to her instead of bottling up my feelings. I explained that I didn't tell her because I knew she'd worry and expect me to talk about how I feel. It's very sweet of her for worrying about me, but she doesn't need to. It's like she doesn't understand that I don't talk about how I feel, unlike her. She's barely spoken to me since. She said that she feels betrayed. I didn't mean to upset her so much. I just didn't want to deal with her constant worrying. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I do feel like you're a little bit wrong in this situation. First of all though, I'm sorry, that's really sad. Like, it is weird that you didn't tell your wife, and yeah, obviously they deserve to know. The top comment says, soft you the a-hole because you lost a sister, but how could you not tell your wife something as important as my sister died? You got the news, you made travel plans, you traveled, you went to a funeral, you came home, and at no time told your spouse that a member of your immediate family passed away. Whether you were close to your sister or not, that's a major thing to deal with without sharing any of it with your spouse. When you said you were going to see your sister and chose not to include that it was her funeral, you lied by omission. And if I were your wife, I'd wonder how many other major things you've chosen not to tell me. I can't imagine being so emotionally constipated that I don't even tell the person I'm supposed to love and trust as much as I would a spouse something like this. Yeah, 100%, and that was so well said. Definitely strange, and yeah, they're gonna feel like there's other stuff that they're not telling them, and it's not like you can blame the wife. Of course they're gonna feel like that if their own partner doesn't even tell them stuff like this. Am I the a-hole for banning my sister-in-law from babysitting after she put breast milk in my child's ears? I have a 7-year-old daughter, Rose. Rose is prone to ear infections. She had a double ear infection recently and couldn't go to school on Friday because she had a low-grade fever. I had to go to work and I couldn't get a babysitter, so my sister-in-law offered to keep her for me. Everything seemed to go well until I picked up Rose and my sister-in-law told me that she had put breast milk, she has a 12-week-old, in Rose's ears to help with the ear infection. She even offered to send some home in a dropper bottle so I can keep giving it to her. She claims that it's a great remedy and that Rose was already starting to feel better. I couldn't believe that she did this to my child without asking. I yelled at her for it and we argued, and I told her she'll no longer be able to babysit or be around Rose unsupervised. Now Rose is upset that she can't go to her auntie's house anymore, and my brother called me to say that I upset his wife. She was just trying to help and I overreacted. This is a woman putting her bodily fluids in my child's ear. I think I have a right to be upset. It seems that everyone is against me on this, so I wanted to know if I was the a-hole for banning her from babysitting or being near Rose unsupervised. No, you're not the a-hole in this situation. Like, they didn't ask and that's what the issue is. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole, she did it without asking and that's the issue here. Yeah, 100%, and it sounds like you made your point. I don't feel like you should ban them from being with them like forever though. I feel like there is a line with how upset you should be about this. Like, yeah, you should be upset and you're not the a-hole, and they definitely know not to do that again, but at the same time their heart was in the right place. They just didn't ask you, so they were trying to help, but they just didn't ask you beforehand. You know, it's not like they're evil or something. They just need to know that they can't do that again. But yeah, not the a-hole. They should have asked you first. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for telling my niece that it's her fault that my horse kicked her? I, 27 female, have a niece 14 female, who's my older brother 36 male and his wife 34 female's daughter. She's a very sweet girl and she loves my horses and the other horses I board, which are my friends. My brother and his wife live in the city, while I live in my uncle's ranch on my mother's side in a different state. My brother and I have a different mum but the same dad. They sent my niece to come and stay with me for a few months, which I greatly accepted. She's been good and she calls her friends back at her home state and FaceTimes her parents once in a while. She's a great help with feeding my animals and my horses. The only problem is she doesn't know how to ride horses and sometimes teases the horses. I have two very young horses, a filly and a colt, which are very excited horses, and I don't really allow her in the field with them as they like to kick and buck even when people are around. And I have an old stallion, which was my first horse my uncle got me. His name is Rooster and is 32 years old. That's my niece's favorite horse. She always wants to ride him, but I don't allow anybody to ride him and I don't ride him anymore. He's very patient and kind, but he doesn't like anyone touching his back legs and his tail. That's when you walk behind him. He will kick, but when he knows that you're there, he doesn't mind being touched back there, as long as anybody approaches him in the front. Overall, he's a great horse. She'll tease him with a lunging whip by tickling his back legs and his tail, trying to get him to kick. I've told her numerous times and I warned her. She still continues to do it behind my back. Well, I told her to go get Rooster out of the pasture and into his stall, so she went to go and get him and I heard her scream in the barn. I got over there and she was holding onto her leg crying in pain while Rooster ran back to the pastures. I asked her what happened and she said that Rooster he kicked her left thigh, and I asked her if she touched him on the back legs or the tail. She said that she pushed him on his tail to get him in his stall, and that's when he kicked her and ran off. She started cursing about Rooster and doesn't want to be around him. I told her it's her fault that she provoked him and for not listening to me after so many warnings. I told her that bruise on her leg is a lesson now to be careful around bigger animals, especially ones that can kick at any moment. She can walk it off, and she called her parents after. They called me and they told me that it was my fault for not supervising her and that they're gonna get her home. I told them everything, but they won't listen, and my sister-in-law told me I need to get rid of Rooster. I told her no, and I hung up. Am I the a-hole? No, you're definitely not the a-hole. You're 100% right. You warned them so many times. Like, yeah, you weren't lying. That is what's gonna happen. Like the top comment says, not the a-hole. 14 is old enough to take directions and warnings. You told her several times not to do what she did. She didn't listen and continued to do it anyway. Rooster gave her a lesson in why she should listen to warnings and directions. I mean, if you keep telling a kid not to touch a stove because it's hot, and they don't listen and they touch the stove and get burnt, are you gonna throw out the stove? To me, this is the logic of her mother. Yeah, 100%, and I'm so happy that you're standing up to them. You should not get rid of your horse for something like this. They sound like a beautiful, super old horse. Yeah, no, definitely not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for splitting the bill at dinner and not letting my boyfriend pretend that he paid? I, 24 female, have been dating Ben, 26 male, for 8 months. For context, Ben and I are from different income brackets, and Ben has expressed that he sometimes feels a bit weird about this because he's a gentleman at heart, but he says it's hard to treat me since I'm not really impressed by his gestures. I've said many times that I'm not concerned about these kind of things either way, but it comes up periodically. Last night, Ben and I went to dinner with 6 of my friends. There were 3 men and 5 women. At the end of the dinner, the 2 guys, Max and Harry, said that they'd get the bill, as the guys usually do when we're out. Ben quietly said to me that he wasn't really comfortable with the guys paying for his dinner, so I said I'd chip in with the bill. Ben said thank you, but could he chip in and then I could pay him back afterwards because he didn't want them knowing I was paying. This struck me as totally absurd because firstly, it's an unnecessary step. Second, splitting the cost was something I wasn't sure he would realistically be able to cover. And third, I felt like he was trying to enter a peeing contest with my friends, which was just childish. I said no, I'll just pay, and then I turned to everyone and said I'd chip in a third of the bill. No one batted an eyelid, but Ben was sulking. He's now mad at me saying that I emasculated him and I made him look bad in front of my friends. I think he's over dramatizing it because my friends couldn't care less and he needs to get over himself. Am I in the wrong for not letting him save face? And OP left a comment here that said, all my money is someone else's, I inherited it, but I invited him to the dinner knowing I was going to pay for him if we split it. It's an expensive restaurant that he wouldn't otherwise choose to go, and it's dinner with my friends. I had no issue paying. I just thought it was childish that he wanted to take the credit and cause an unnecessary inconvenience for us later because he thought my friends were judging him, which they weren't. There's a comment here that says, not the a-hole. You're not an a-hole, but I also think you misread Ben's point a little bit. Blah, blah, blah. Modern society. But in this particular context, as you stated, it was common for the men to pay for the women. Now, Ben has been added into the situation, and the writing is very clearly on the wall that he's supposed to step up and pay for part of it as one of the men in the group. Outdated as it may be, in that situation, your group made it very clear that that was expected. You may not realize it because you're simply used to it, but as a new person joining the group, particularly a man, there's a lot of probably unexpected pressure all of a sudden with clear social guidelines. The reason that your boyfriend leaned over to talk to you about it was because of that clear, sudden social pressure to chip in as one of the men in the group. I understand where you're coming from because I'm also very much a practical woman, and this is an impractical situation, and I can see where your solution comes from, but in your eyes, it's just a matter of helping the friends split the bill. However, in Ben's eyes, it's a matter that amongst your friends, the men split the bill and pay for the women. By announcing that you as a woman are going to split the bill as well, you've sort of broken that social construct, and you're probably right that your friends don't really care, but you also know your friends a lot better than Ben does. So in Ben's eyes, it was obvious that he as a man was supposed to pick up part of the bill, and now his girlfriend made an announcement that she was going to pick it up instead. Again, I don't think you're the a-hole in this situation because I think you simply misread it. However, I do think you might want to sit down and talk to Ben a little and let him express himself about what was going through his head in that situation. Yeah, especially that last bit. Like, you need to sit them down and sort of learn their thought process on this. Yeah, I don't know. This one's a hard one because obviously Ben struggles with this a little bit, but at the same time, there are so many comments here saying that OP is the a-hole, and a lot of them do make sense. And obviously, if Ben wasn't insecure about this and just let OP pay, it all would have been fine. But yeah, I feel like that's enough for today. Time for something wholesome. A dino comic. Do you want me to come with you to? Yes. You didn't let me finish. With you is all I needed to know. Oh, beautiful little dinosaurs. I don't know what it is about the dinosaur comics, but they're always so good. But yeah, of course I want you with me. This is a baby barn owl running across grass. Barn owlets start flapping their wings at 7 weeks. Oh, please tell me this is real. That's so cute. Barn owlets run across grass. That's so beautiful. Oh, I loved him so much. When did you realize that he loved you? Let's get some positive stories going. We got into an argument and I yelled at him loud. He then said, I'm in love with you and one day I want to marry you and have kids. So you're going to have to find a way to communicate your emotions without yelling because I'm not going to have us arguing in front of our kids. Oh, that's so sweet. I love positive stories so much. We need to see a lot more of them. And on that note, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more Am I the A-hole episodes, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Errant Wins, the Vinci channel, or Why Are People Like This? You're absolutely right. I hope all the Vinci family has a pleasant day. Oh, the Vinci family. That's such a good name. That's so awesome. You guys are the Vinci family. But yeah, why are people like this? That's what the channel should be called. We say that in every single episode. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks again for all the support, guys. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!